Musical Rhetoric in Richard Strauss's Don Juan, Opus 20. Part 3, Transitioned and Episode 2 of the Rondo. We continue our analysis of the 19th century tone poem, Don Juan. If you haven't already listened to a recording of the work, Don Juan, you should do so before continuing. Links are provided in the description below this video. If you're already familiar with the actual music being analyzed, and have also watched the first 2 installments of this series, we can continue. For a brief moment following the first episode, we heard musical elements recalling the opening refrain theme. In this way, the appearance of a rondo form is kept up, without adhering strictly to it. This rondo is, after all, a free one, in keeping with Don Juan's libertine ideal, a free thinker, unrestrained by convention or morality, other than his own. Before long, a sensual, seductive, dominant ninth harmony is reached. Now we see A sharps in the score. A sharp is the leading tone of the key of B major, and this chord is an F sharp ninth in jazz chord symbols. This jazzy-sounding chord is the dominant or 5 chord of B major, the soul of a B do. Moreover, this F sharp 9 is the dominant of Don Juan's E major refrain. Decades before motion pictures or modern jazz, here we have Strauss using this harmonic device to evoke a sexually charged atmosphere. Cue the solo violin. In this revision of Berlioz's treatise on instrumentation, Strauss states that the solo violin unveils the innermost secrets of a woman's heart. See the description. This instrument is aptly used to foreshadow what will soon become the lovely tune of the Rondo's second episode. The orchestra has already played something like this motif in the 4-sharp key of E major C-sharp minor in connection with Zerlina back in episode 1. So this leitmotif must represent not another woman, but the character of Don Juan himself, specifically in his role as possessor of his current love interest. See James Hebikoski's article, page 154 in the description. Rising arpeggios in the harp evoke ideas of the supernatural or of flying, either literally or metaphorically. Based on what the Strauss-Berlioz treatise says about this instrument, the addition of a harp or two contributes a heavenly euphoria to a scene. See the description. We hear similar applications of harps and solo violins all the time in modern movie and video game soundtracks, except that Strauss wrote Don Juan for the concert hall. Remember the question posed in an earlier video about the artistic value of music made for media? The sheer duration of this prolonged dominant harmony, 19 measures, adds to the tension of yearning, of longing. At bar 90, there is a gratifying sense of arrival at a new destination, when an authentic cadence on the new tonic of B major is finally reached. Which brings us to episode 2. In 4 centuries of literature, the second female encounter of the legendary Don Juan is often a woman having the same social status as Don Juan himself, a well-to-do donna, the female counterpart of Don. In Mozart's Don Giovanni opera, this one is Donna Elvira. Clarinet and horn begin the B major theme, molto espressivo. This is imitated 2 bars later by the upper strings, while in the middle ground, other woodwinds provide a triplet-duplet pulse, a musical heartbeat. For those who read music, arrows indicate the staves of this heartbeat in the woodwind parts of the score. Incidentally, Strauss will apply a similar musical rhetorical device and expand upon it in his next tone poem, Tod und Verklärung, translated Death and Transfiguration, Opus 24. The orchestration of this theme is complex, and unfortunately the resolution of this video makes it difficult to make out the fine details. Please refer to the Dover score or download a public domain copy if legally available in your country. That said, here we go. First, the solo clarinet and horn, highlighted in yellow. This is echoed or imitated at the unison and octave in the 2 violin sections, highlighted in blue. And here they are combined. The symbolism of the solo violin response does not escape us, highlighted in red. All the while accompanied by the throbbing of woodwinds, highlighted in green. Basses and cellos can also be seen at the bottom, supporting the harmonic and melodic material above. From measure 101, rehearsal letter E, she, that is, the solo violin, is now possessed by Don Juan's tune as she plays in unison with the solo horn, both clarinets now, and is doubled by the entire cello section. For comparison, here is the solo violin along with a piano transcription of the orchestra. Moving along, we see here that the remaining woodwinds and horns have come into the mix, building the intensity of the heartbeat rhythm, balancing the larger orchestral forces now in play. In the score, rising harp figures, highlighted in yellow, become more frequent and eventually continuous. Notice that the solo violin, highlighted in red, merges with the rest of the violin section. As the tempo becomes poco a poco più vivente, triplets become more numerous. We hear an overall build-up until bars 149 through 157, where there is a series of explosions in full brass and woodwinds, triple forte triplets. The score also indicates rapidly trembling lower strings, highlighted in red. All this musical rhetoric is undoubtedly calculated to represent sexual climax. See Hebekoski 155. Also recall the earlier use of triplets in the bassoons in connection with Zerlina. It is important to notice that this climax is on an E minor triad, the subdominant or 4 chord of the dominant key of B. That makes it the parallel minor of Don Juan's tonic key of E. As we shall see, the entire work ends on an E minor chord, so this particular E minor triad foreshadows some sort of tragic ending for the principal character. Even before the completion of this musical orgasm, the insatiable rogue is restless, ready to gallop off to further conquests. The introduction to the Rondo refrain theme appears in the cellos, measure 160. Well, it is time to resume our series on musical harmony, but have no fear, Don Juan will return for episode 3 of the Rondo. We plan to alternate between the two series for a while. So if you like this installment, be sure to comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.